Hello and welcome to Stop the Press. I'm Rob Chadwick and I'm a lecturer of journalism at Exeter College. I'm here with Bill Martin, who is 35 years in regional press, 20 as editor of both evening and morning titles. And we do not have Nick Copson here today. We have indeed. But we have a special guest instead because our subject for today is how do young people consume the news? What's the future of news in terms of young people? And so we have a young person here, Katie.
Hooray!
Hello.
Katie, tell us about yourself.
I'm 25. I'm Bill's daughter, and I'm currently living in Melbourne, but just on holiday in England at the minute.
Which is fantastic because we'll be able to get an international perspective on it as well. So I'm loving it all round. So, bearing in mind the question for today is how do young people consume their news and what's the future for news and how do we see it developing? Why don't we start by me asking you, Katie, how do you consume the news? How do you go about finding out what's going on in the world?
I get most of my news from TikTok.
Okay.
Like nearly probably all of it. I do have Sky News on my phone and I'll see like breaking news, like notifications, but other than that I pretty much see all of my news on TikTok.
So you have notification on your Sky app, your Sky News app, and you've got TikTok. And how does the news manifest itself on TikTok? How does it? Is it short bites or is it from Channel 4?
It's probably short bites and it wouldn't be like posted from like the BBC or like Channel 4, like not from an actual news outlet. It's mostly from, I don't know, like I wouldn't say secondhand news, but it's normally from like clips from people that will be talking about what's happened.
So what's an issue that's predominantly on your mind at the moment, for instance?
That I mostly see on TikTok is what's happening in Israel.
So what are the sources there? So you're getting some news from
I'd say like first-hand stuff. Like
so have we got people who are in Gaza?
Yeah,
yeah,
and it will say, oh, this has happened, blah, 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 or like this is his clip of here and this is what's actually happening, etc. Like it's not, I wouldn't say it's approved by like media outlets. It's just from people that are there.
I thought TikTok was all cats on skateboards.
I don't think TikTok's really like that at all anymore. Like it started off as like funny clips, but like since when it first came out in like 2019 in COVID, it's completely manifested into so much more than like a funny site. Like so many people make millions of pounds from being on TikTok through like all gym influencers, everything like that. That's all manifested from TikTok.
Is it in your life? Is it taking over from Instagram?
The only thing I use Instagram for is just to post pictures of what I'm up to for myself and my friends. It's more like a memory log, but other than anything else.
Yeah, because there's no news on there.
Well, I don't see news on there, but I know that some people, like my mum would probably say she gets news from there because they have Instagram Reels.
Yeah, there is. I see it. I'm on Instagram. I see an increasing amount of news on Instagram as well. Yeah, definitely. From first-hand sources that you're talking about.
Yeah.
My problem when I see those sources is I feel like they've not been mediated. There's no one said, is this true, firstly, or is it unbiased, secondly?
Yeah, no, definitely.
How do you feel about that on TikTok?
I mean, is it biased if it's it depends if the video is true or not, I guess. But like, is it biased if it's a video from that place or from someone posting it, if it's a first-hand source?
Difficult to know, isn't it?
But you have to take things with a pinch of salt. Like, even with news like from the BBC, I wouldn't 100% agree with everything they say or everything they post.
When you say you don't agree with it or you don't believe it?
Don't believe it. Or I think it might be spun from one light. Like the whole thing with Glastonbury and Kneecap or that Bob Villain guy.
Yeah.
Like all of that, I just thought it seemed ridiculous.
In what way?
I don't know. We had a conversation about it in the car about saying that Bob Villain guy was anti-Semitic. Is that the word? Just because he said death to the IDF. But I mean, you were saying that you were thinking that he was saying that it means kill all Jewish people, but I don't think he meant that. He only just said it because it rhymed, and you're at a festival and people rhymed it back. I don't think it would have been that deep. And the fact that the BBC made it into such a big thing that they couldn't post these, and they edited out pictures of Palestinian flags in performances, like that's just very strange.
Well, I think the issue was around why the BBC continued to stream it, wasn't it? That was the big issue. I think the BBC would have loved it if that hadn't become a big story, actually.
Yeah.
And hopefully, they probably we've all done things in the media when you think, I really hope nobody reads that, because you know it was wrong, and I'm sure there was a BBC producer thinking that at the time.
Somebody definitely got in trouble.
But that, I mean, does that colour how you perceive the BBC as a news source?
Yeah.
And what about, is that common, do you think, with all your friends?
I would say so. I think a lot of people, I'm not sure, a lot of people, I don't think many of my friends even read the news at all. Like, I don't think a lot of my friends have any idea on like what current affairs are.
That is an interesting question. If we were to take 10 of your friends, including yourself, how many do you think are kind of aware and interested in what's going on?
Not a lot of them. If I was to think like 10 of my friends now, I know that my close friend, Bronte, she understands what's happening, but she doesn't want to read about it or know about it. So if I was to send her like a piece of news that I saw on TikTok that like is a bit sad or like real, she'd say I'd rather not see it.
Do you think your interest has come about because of your esteemed father?
I don't know. I just think it's good to know what's happening in the world, really.
I mean,
or
it really
at least
is.
be aware of it.
Yeah.
Because I think, I don't know, you can't all just go through like ignorantly and not know because it's happening.
It's funny, last week we were talking about how a lot of people are choosing not to engage with the news just because it's better for their mental health not to engage with the
That's
news.
exactly what Bronte says. She's like, it's doom and gloom. I'm like, yeah, it's doom and gloom, but it is happening.
Going back to the way you're consuming news and stuff, would you prefer to see news out there being unmediated generally? So BBC are allowed to show that, but they're also allowed to show someone on stage saying the Israel are right and Gaza should be annihilated, etc., etc. Or is it that you think it's wrong because it's something you agree with?
No, I just think it's wrong because... What, about the Bob Dylan thing?
Yeah.
I just thought it felt wrong because it's not that I believe in it, but it's just that that's what happened, or like that's what they said, and then it wasn't published because of somebody in the BBC thinks it's not politically correct.
I'm not sure it's not politically correct, was it? I thought it was more about they're not allowed to be biased.
Oh, but is showing it making them biased?
What do you think, Bill?
It's different for you guys because, like, you were the news, so you had to make those choices.
Yeah, I mean, I think that particular incident goes back to what the BBC's trying to achieve at Glastonbury and what it's publishing. I mean, it's amazing to me that a red flag didn't go up, in a production meeting before, because Bob Dylan is well known, and he says his sort of statement of intent is to shock and upset people, and he's clearly quite anti-establishment, I think.
Yeah.
So the decision to live stream him, I think, was a brave one.
Stupid one?
Does that put it politely?
I'd go stupid,
I mean,
not brave.
There's an awful lot of music on at Glastonbury, isn't there?
Yeah.
And most of us, I mean, the audience, the TV and radio audience is enormous, isn't it? But I think, for most of us who watch it on TV, it's entertainment and that sort of stuff. Now, I think artists like Bob Dylan, who challenged the norm and, like the old beat poets of the old days and punk rock and that sort of thing, brilliant. I'm all in favour of that. But would I like to be responsible for live streaming that on a major TV channel? Not really. It's just a bit risky, isn't it?
This was always going to come up, wasn't it? because the BBC aren't allowed. I mean, at the end of the day, they're calling for someone to be murdered, which I'm not sure you should be doing, irrespective of who it is.
No,
live on the BBC, I'm pretty certain.
100%.
But you know,
but
So literal though.
well, because it is a literal thing to say.
Yeah.
These are actual people.
Yeah.
it is, and that. But I think that goes all the way back to a journalistic or a broadcasting decision that was made earlier, before Bob Dylan even came on stage. Someone said, "I tell you what, let's live stream that and see what happens." Well, I mean, you could have predicted it, couldn't you?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And if it wasn't, if he wasn't going to go into that particular arena, which let's face it, most of us daren't say anything about that particular conflict, because.
You can get into a lot of trouble.
You can get into a lot of trouble, you can do.
If you don't say the thing that agrees with the Liberals, let's put it that way.
Yeah, so, I just think that there was a producing decision there made early on, which was brave.
Yeah.
You say stupid, I say brave. I mean, it sort of went wrong, didn't it?
So going back to that, Katie, do you think, irrespective of what people say on a stage of that sort of thing, they should be allowed to just get their point across and whatever, and that is, if that's the news, then that's the news, and just let it get on?
Yeah.
How would you stop that becoming... We know that the arts and film and media attracts a lot of left-wing people. How would you stop that becoming propaganda for the left wing?
What, through the news?
Yeah. Because if you just allow all of those people to say what they think, you could end up with a lot of left-wing thought being on television all the time.
Yeah, I know what you mean. And I guess if it was the other way around and it was...
If it was a load of people...
If it was right-wing propaganda,
exactly.
It would not go down well at all.
So
and I definitely probably wouldn't want to hear that. So maybe I am the biased person as a whole. But I guess it's difficult to... control such things.
It is difficult, although not
media.
Impossible.
Can't control what people say.
Yeah, you can't. But what you can do is control whether you show it or not.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which I guess they did for certain things.
In the end, yeah.
For like Kneecap, for
Yeah.
example, they didn't do them.
So coming back to TikTok and the way that TikTok puts news across, do you think most young people who are interested in the news are kind of accessing their news that way? Is there any place for old media at all nowadays amongst the younger generation? I do sound like an old fart when I say this.
You are.
But yeah, I am. Yeah.
Sorry, we are.
Yeah.
I think TikTok has kind of like ruined like a large proportion of the younger generation's like attention span, low key, because at the beginning every video was about 10, 15 seconds, maybe 30 seconds max. They can be longer now, but you don't watch them that long. Like I'll get 10 to 15 seconds in and I'll skip it, and there'll be a different video straight after that's only 10 or 15 seconds that will give you that, like, not dopamine hit, but it's that immediate ha-ha laugh or that immediate different piece of media whenever you want it. So when it comes to reading like a whole article about something, get halfway through these days and you're like, oof. So I don't think many people read like a whole article. Like even on Snapchat sometimes I'll get the like the Telegraph will have posted articles and I'll watch like the 10-second clip, but I won't read it because I just don't think I'll get anything more else out of the article, which I think happens to a lot of people.
So if you were to read an article anywhere, what would you read? Where would you read it? On Snapchat?
Snapchat. That's so bad, isn't it? But I do get that. Because on Snapchat, basically...
You're going to have to explain to me how Snapchat even works.
So Snapchat...
I don't have it.
I don't have either.
It originated as just a messaging app, but you would just send pictures. But now, obviously, it's had to evolve with all the other social medias. And there's a section where you can send pictures, and then on the other side, they have stories. So I could post a picture of us now doing this, and all my friends could click on it. But then also, Channel 4, The Telegraph, like people, like public figures, can have their own accounts on Snapchat that you can follow, or they'll pop up as an advert on your page, and that's where I'll see the news on there. So The Telegraph will have a little bubble, and I can click it, and I can click through today's like articles, and you can either watch like it might be a little 10-second highlight, or you can swipe up and read the actual article.
I'm surprised you're following the Telegraph.
Well, it just pops up.
I'm
It
surprised
pops
the
up.
algorithm is giving you the Telegraph, if
Yeah.
I'm honest. That's interesting, isn't it?
Well-known right-winger.
Yeah, yeah.
But
That is interesting, yeah.
yeah, that's where it comes from, and I don't read much.
Do you ever watch the news,
No.
listen to it?
When I used to be in my car and Radio 1, the news would come on, I would listen to it then,
Yeah.
but I don't now because I'm never driving at peak times.
And what about, got to ask this question, have you ever read a newspaper?
Not a whole one.
Do you think anyone of your age has ever read a newspaper?
Probably not.
It's incredible, isn't it? You're 25.
That's quite sad.
I don't know. I mean, I am very interested in the way that you're consuming news in snippets like that,
It's
because I do
everything
wonder
snippets.
whether you're getting that kind of depth that really gives you the ability to think about, well, I've had this opinion and got this opinion, and now I can make this decision from it. I wonder whether the algorithm is basically throwing stuff not
At
just
you.
at you, but whoever, which just agrees with what you already think, and as a result, you never get that sort of wider view of anything.
Potentially.
Do you
But
think
I
that's
guess
possible?
if I'm seeing like if you had Snapchat and the Telegraph popped up for you, it would be the same stories. It would be the same articles. Like we would all get the same
Because it's the Telegraph.
because it's just what
and that's what
what they
throw at-
posted
yeah, yeah.
today. The
Yeah.
same with like Channel 4 or whatever else other media would be on there.
But that's the same for us, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
It's the same
Yeah.
for, people our age, because we've
You only buy one paper, you don't buy all of them.
We're both subscribers to the Times,
Yeah, yeah.
digital version, so you get a very Times view of the world, don't you?
Yes, without a doubt, yeah.
I mean, I think that's one of them all rounded, but the columnists are of a particular bent, aren't they? And
Yeah.
they're not particularly supportive of the current government, are they?
No,
Um,
they're not. They were before the election. They wanted they put their weight behind Labour before the election, didn't they?
Yes, I think they did. Yeah,
Yeah. In the week running up to the election, the Sunday Times said we've had enough of the Tories, vote for Labour, etc. But it feels like Labour's let us down a little bit, if I'm honest.
TikTok was really like political when the election was on. Like I feel like the like obviously, I think Reform was the second most popular, like the most voted in Plymouth, which is crazy.
Farage uses TikTok well,
He does.
doesn't he?
He uses so much TikTok, and every young boy that like in my kind of age bracket that I used to speak to about this, they would so be on his side, but like not knowing anything, they'd be like, "Oh, he's really funny. He makes TikToks. He's going to do this. He's going to do that." I was like, not sure if that's true. It's just social media.
That is interesting. I think these politicians are going to have to get good at TikTok in order to engage your age group, aren't they?
100%. But he did, and he literally did for the last election. There were so many videos that like blew up on TikTok. There was all.
Is Trump a TikToker?
I don't see TikToks from him.
I mean, he's a brilliant
Showman.
He was a Twitterer, wasn't he? Xer.
I think he still does that.
Well, he was banned, wasn't he? So then he launched his own one, which is called Truth Social. So he's got his own enormous version of Twitter.
Where all his supporters go and agree with each other.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I
You know,
can't.
which is clever.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, without a
they're
doubt.
powerful people.
Yeah, but everybody that follows his Trump Twitter, they're all just like-minded individuals talking against each other and being in a frenzy that this is right and this is right, and there's no one to say to them, no, it isn't.
Yeah, that's exactly right. It's an echo chamber, isn't it?
Yeah.
But don't you feel that could be the same if you're getting fed, but if your algorithms are feeding you things
Stuff.
that you...
Yeah.
Stuff about
TikTok,
Gaza.
TikTok
Do you think you're
definitely-
getting a biased opinion on that?
definitely does that because it it does work through an algorithm. It's like Snapchat doesn't really work like that, but TikTok, if you even mention out loud or Google or search a specific topic, I can guarantee it will be on I'll see it on my phone that day, 100%. even earlier today, not related, but I was thinking about getting weightlifting shoes. I went onto TikTok. There was an advert for it. I was just thinking about it, and then there was an advert for it. It's so weird.
It is odd, isn't it?
It's freaky.
Yeah.
But it is. It will be the same with like when I was getting loads of the Gaza videos. I was disinteresting them because there was too many of them. My whole TikTok was it because I watched like 2 or 3 in detail, and then I was seeing more and more and more. But I don't want to see
Lots
like
of that,
all
yeah.
of it. I understand what's happening and can see, but yeah, it does work and it does work that way.
I'll tell you another question I was going to ask, actually. So on TikTok, I was here, actually, in these studios a few Mondays back when the Indian plane crash happened.
Oh, yeah.
And it actually happened while we were here in the studios. And, of course, the BBC started reporting it and weren't showing... We had the screen of the BBC up, and they weren't showing the actual crash. But I had students who were here, and they were looking at it and going, look, this is what happened. And
This is what
they were
actually
seeing
happened.
it almost immediately, the actual crash and stuff. Do you think that's a good thing, that we are seeing that much detail of something like that? Or
I actually was thinking about this the other day. I think that because we all have access to first-hand footage of natural disasters, things like that, like people being murdered, etc., we're almost too desensitized to things like that because that's not a normal thing to see. And especially children or like younger people on TikTok, because I'm well over 18, I can choose like to what I can see, but there is barely any filter between me seeing it and I don't know, a 15-year-old girl.
and you can contextualize it. You're old enough to kind of look at it and think, well, I understand what's happening and stuff.
God, I don't want to see that. Like there was in Melbourne, a dessert shop was there was an arson attack, and the person that did it had the petrol on himself by accident, and he caught fire.
Yeah.
And we watched the whole video of it, like fully happening in real life, and I was like, that shouldn't actually be reaching people's eyes. Certainly, like, if the media hasn't published it, you probably don't need to see it.
So
Sometimes.
So you think the old media possibly get it right in terms of mediating the more sort of graphic content?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, obviously everyone can see whatever they want, but I just don't think it's always necessary to see somebody's head being chopped off. Like, that's not normal.
I must admit, my 16-year-old's watching this, and I was going, Why are you watching it? Why do you want to see that?
Exactly.
It's like, I don't want to see it.
But it's the same with like films and TV shows, like all the films, like obviously CGI and everything. It's so good now that you'll see a head being blown up in something crazy, and yeah, you just wouldn't normally see that, would you, if you were like ages ago?
I think if you choose to go to the film, though,
Yeah.
it's slightly different from the news, isn't it?
Yeah,
and that's sort of real life. I mean, it was one of the great challenges for newspaper editors, in the early 2000s was, we of course used to think very carefully about the type of pictures we would publish. So, for example, in Plymouth, say there was a crash on the A38, we would invariably have gruesome pictures with bodies. Exactly. We would never use them. I'm sure newspapers wouldn't now. Do you know what I mean? But they were being published on social media or on Facebook, or somebody had taken a picture and said, "Oh my God, look!"
Yeah.
And I suppose the problem with the mainstream media, and let's call it that, not publishing it, is it becomes a forum. It becomes conspiracy theory central, doesn't it? Because we didn't get showed that, and they're trying to cover up this and they're trying to cover up that, and actually what they're trying to do is mediate things to make it more palatable or more tasteful or whatever.
Or you might be, publishing pictures of dead people whose relatives haven't been informed, and that's the thing. So you've got the whole issues around identity or whatever. So those in traditional media, as we call it now, those decisions were taken very, very carefully, often in collaboration with the police or the emergency service. If they'd been involved, they'd say, yes, we've spoken to the family now, you can identify the victim or whatever. So one of the sort of skills when I was a trainee reporter was to find out identities of people. If someone had been killed, or some tragedy had happened, it was sort of finding out who it had happened to. That was one of the arts of the sort of foot slogging reporter. Do you know what I mean? And it used to be done on foot or by knocking on doors and that sort of stuff. Well, that all went out the window with the advent of Facebook. Suddenly, if someone,
a couple of clicks and you're there.
That's it. You'd know almost immediately. And then you've seen that with some things that have happened recently in the UK, haven't they? And the terrible thing that happened in Southport, and overnight, I woke up the next day and my Facebook feed. I'm still looking at Facebook, I'm afraid. It was full of a name.
Yes.
And the story on Facebook was, the authorities are covering it up, but the attacker is so and so and so and so, who was a
migrant, etc. And we had
migrant,
riots
wasn't it?
before.
Asylum seeker, wasn't it? You got riots all over the UK
before the truth came out.
All wrong.
Yes. So that leads to. Do you think a more responsible attitude? Is responsible the right word? Let's say responsible attitude, but let's agree that might be not the right word. Might be taken by TikTok, etc., or do you think that the drive for clicks is just going to make it more and more extreme?
The drive for clicks.
Yeah?
100%. Because you can, make so much money off TikTok now, even if you're not even if you're not posting anything about you, you could just be promoting a product, or you could be millions of views from just funny videos or shocking videos or media, anything that's happened in the news. If it's shocking and you get 1 million views for it, you will be able to turn that into money.
And does that worry you, or do you think are you quite
I wouldn't say
relaxed about it?
Yeah, I wouldn't say that's something that's on my mind ever, or do I really think about it. But I mean, I can take it, put it into perspective if I was to see it.
And we're talking to you as a young person who engages with the news, whereas there are plenty, as you've said, who don't really engage with the news. Do you think there's a larger proportion of conspiracy theory people amongst youngsters as well?
In what way?
Do you find people who kind of believe that, I don't know, I encountered a taxi driver who thought the world was flat the other day.
Oh my god! my best
flat earther.
Yeah.
No, they exist.
It's the first one I'd ever met, and it was hilarious.
I've met one.
Oh, it's hilarious, isn't it?
I'm not going to name drop here, but one of my good girlfriends, her ex-boyfriend, who she was with him for a very long time, and when they broke up, she finally told us that, he thinks the earth is flat. And we were like, what? You've been with him this whole time and he thinks the earth is flat. But he's the only person that I know that thinks that. I don't.
I mean, that's obviously an extreme conspiracy theory.
That's
but do you have a lot of people who kind of go, well, we're not being told the truth about that, or we're not being told the truth about that. You can't trust the BBC, you can't trust the ITV, etc.
I wouldn't say, because my friends are, as a whole, they're not that news conscious. It's not something we would discuss,
right,
or think about. And I probably think that about. I think that probably a lot of people like that.
Because one of my worries about TikTok is because of it being unmediated, it is a place where if you want to push out a message, no matter how obscure or extreme it is, you can push out that message.
Yeah.
TikTok was where the Catherine rumour about the wedding, the Princess Catherine rumour about a wedding, about the marriage being on the rocks came out, wasn't it? It was an Italian guy.
What about
with Will and Kate, wasn't it?
Right.
Yeah, there was an Italian guy with 2.3 million followers was pushing out stories about, oh shit, the marriage is in trouble, etc., etc.
Yeah.
And she had to come out and say, I've got cancer because of this nonsense on TikTok. But me old-fashioned, I do worry about it.
Yeah, I mean, it can be, any message can be pushed. But then again, can't the BBC push any message they want?
But I don't think they do.
No, I don't think they do really either. I just think...
But they could.
They could.
But they don't. The point is they don't, not that they could.
Well, they shouldn't. That's part of their role, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But newspapers do.
Yeah,
and
they do.
And newspapers always have done.
The Sun.
So, Yeah, 100%. The Mirror, you know,
Yeah.
they've got a political stance, and they're pretty relentless on it these days.
No one in Liverpool buys the Sun even now, do they? Because of Hillsborough and stuff.
Yeah,
Well, not no one, but a lot. They've not got the same readership, have they?
Sun's not welcome in Liverpool, is it?
No, it isn't. No.
Yeah.
Because of exactly that. So we are almost at the end of this episode. Thank you for coming in, Katie. I'd just like to say to you, what do you think the future is? How do we get more young people engaged with the news? And, you know, where does that take us? That's a big question. So if you want to say, Rob, I have no
That is a big
idea, then you
question.
can say, Rob, I've no idea. But I'd be really interested in what you think.
Don't know. I think it's difficult to get young people interested in the news at the minute, because I wouldn't say that many of them are that interested in the topics. Like, lots of my friends, politics in general, they say, "Oh, I don't care. They're all the same. Just it will be the same. Whoever's in charge, even if I vote, the same outcomes will happen. Will it make any difference?" Like, it's very much a...
You don't need to be young to think that.
Well, that's what I mean. It's very much like a defeatist attitude.
I think that reflects the country as a whole, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
You know, what was it, 35% turnout at the last election or something
Was
silly?
that it?
It was really small. Yeah, it was the smallest it's ever been or something like that, wasn't it?
Wow.
But
Which is a
that's,
shame.
You know, that's why we end up with Farage
Yes.
or Trump, you know, making, you know, promises to make America great again. You know, who doesn't think that's a great idea? Of course we want our country to be great,
Yeah.
you know, but it's easy to
But-
say, isn't it?
Maybe not in his way.
Easy to say.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, go on, Katie. What were you
No, I was just going to say, I'm not sure if they will be engaged until it becomes something that impacts them directly, I think.
That's definitely true, isn't it? You know,
Yeah.
you know, and that's probably more reflective of your friends in the fact that, you know, a lot of you are still
Busy.
traveling.
Yeah.
You know, you know, a few of them are at the beginning of careers and that sort of stuff. But you know, you know, none of your friends are yet homeowners, or
Yeah.
none of you are paying any tax.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a motivator in
Yeah.
terms of politics.
Well, it is, isn't it?
Definitely.
You know, sort of.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. Like, all the people that I'm sure voted for Farage, maybe, they thought that those issues that he was talking about have affected them, which is why they voted, because they believe that what he's saying needs to occur.
Do you think there's a lot of... You were saying that a lot of young boys are kind of gravitating towards Farage. Do you think that's actually happening? Do you think that
Yeah.
they... Yeah?
I always see, like, comments from... I'll see a comment on a video and it will be slightly racist, pushing something bad in just an opinion that I don't believe in, and I'll click on the account and they look about 15, and they're all these young. They'll have an English flag in their bio and it'll say Britain first or something. I'm like, God, you're 14. Who's put this like into your head? And it will be TikToks from people like Nigel Farage that say it, etc., etc.
Yeah. On that slightly depressing note...
I know, sorry guys. Sorry.
Let's all go and read a newspaper.
Touch on grass.
it feels to me that the other parties have got to get good at TikTok, and they've got to get it good in the next 4 years, because otherwise it sounds like Reform are going to do pretty well in the next election, doesn't it? So I think we've probably...
There's loads to unpack under this
There is.
like bracket, and it's probably not... I'm probably too biased to be discussing it on a podcast. But,
Well, I'd like to say thank you for coming in. I think it's been really interesting. So thank you very much.
I'm glad.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Katie.
And we'll say goodbye to everybody, and we'll see you again in the next week or so.